So we completed the Bali Maharaj story. So in Bali Maharaj story, actually, it started with how Shukracharya's service by Bali Maharaj gave him the whole heavenly kingdom. He became the king of all the three universes because he served his guru. He served his guru very rigorously because after the war, when the Devtas got Amrit and the war happened with all the Asuras. The Asuras were defeated. In fact, many of them were killed. But Shukracharya brought them back to life, and he revived Bali Maharaj also. And they were so the gurus, that these sages have the mystic power to bring people to life, people back to life also. So they brought the Asuras back to life, and then Bali Maharaj was so obliged that he did a lot of service to his guru Shukracharya, and then Shukracharya was with this was very happy, and he gave him a lot of powers, and he did Ashwamedha Yajna, 100 Ashwamedha Yajna was done for him. And then Bali Maharaj basically he conquered the whole. He got the powers, and the Devtas had to actually run away. They ran away from there because Bali Maharaj became so powerful. So Brahaspati, who was a priest of the Devtas, he told them, "Right now you can't fight, go away." And after that, we saw how Aditi this thing. Aditi did the service she prayed, she did a Vishnu Payo Vrata, and then she for 12 days, and she got Vaman, Lord Vishnu as a son. And then, so in the story, one thing we missed was that Putna's story is linked to Bali Maharaj's story. So if you remember, Putna, who comes as demon to kill Lord Krishna, she was actually sister of Bali Maharaj. When Vaman Avatar comes, when she sees Lord Vaman, she's so pleased and seeing so beautiful Brahman that she says she desires that Lord Vaman should become her son. But afterwards, when Lord Vaman steals everything, he takes away everything from Bali Maharaj, she becomes envious and she says, no, I would feed him poison. And that's what she got. She became as Putna in her next life. And then she tried to give poison to Lord Krishna, but Lord Krishna liberated her and he gave her the recognition as a mother. So so that was part of it. Then after that, we saw Satyavrata's story of Matsya Avatar, Lord Vishnu's incarnation as a fish, and how Matsya Avatar saved Satyavrata and all the sages from the nuisance of this material life. So we are also struggling in this material life, and we also have to get through this ocean to the Vaikuntha, out of the material planet. So Lord always comes and he pulls us aboard, but we need two things in our life. One, sages. Sages should be there along with us always. We should always be in the company of the sages. And the Lord will then pull us from this, take us away from this, he'll take us to the other side of this ocean of material ocean. So this is what we learned in this story. So today, what happened, one of my ex-colleague actually, he passed away in this thing. In Gurgaon, he was there, young, 49, 50 age between. So I was just thinking, how our birth, we have a specific date of our birth, but our death is not fixed, so it can happen any moment. And what are we accumulating? We are accumulating only material wealth. We are accumulating dhan. We are accumulating the wealth, and we are accumulating this wealth only for the future of our family. And where we learn in this Bhagavatam, so much we learn that, everybody, the family, everything is temporary for us. So it's not that we should not accumulate wealth, but that is not the sole objective of our life. We are supposed to collect Namdan. Namdan is the wealth of name, wealth of Lord's name. So that we have to accumulate. Once we start accumulating the wealth of Lord's name, then we will reach to a stage of accumulating the Premdan. Premdan is the wealth of Lord's love. So we have to reach from this accumulating the wealth of Lord's name to the stage of accumulating Lord's love. So once we reach that, then we would have achieved everything. And these are the two things only that will go along with us. This material wealth will not be useful for us. It will be used by our future generations. That also not sure. They may fight, they may use, whatever will happen. But our worry should not be on accumulating material wealth. Our worry should be actually on accumulating the wealth of Lord's name and Lord's love. So with that we'll start. So now we'll start with the next series of stories which are in Srimad Bhagavatam. So major big stories have been completed. But there's the Ambrish Maharaj story which will come later. And there are some small stories which they are relevant, they're very important, but short stories. We'll do that, and it starts from the Sun Dynasty. So Sun Dynasty is the dynasty where Lord Ram also appeared. So this Sun Dynasty stories are now starting. Then at the later it will be Moon Dynasty also. So Moon Dynasty is the where Lord Krishna appears in the Moon Dynasty. So we'll start with the story from the Surya Vamsa, the Sun Dynasty. The first one is Sudyumna. Sudyumna is the boy who became a girl. So this is a chapter name. Sudyumna, the boy who became a girl. So the story starts with, so in Matsya Avatar, one more important thing was there. Satyavrata Muni also got the spiritual knowledge from Lord when he was in fish incarnation. So Lord is giving that knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, all the knowledge to Satyavrata Muni, while he's pulling them also he was so long, 88 lakh miles, his size was as a fish. And then he was also giving that knowledge. So now if you link this with Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita, when it starts, Lord Krishna says, I had given this knowledge to sun god. Sun god was what? Sun god was none other than this thing. Vivaswan. So Vivaswan was the sun god. Vivaswan was sun god. Who was Vivaswan? He was Satyavrata, King Satyavrata only. So he had become Vivaswan in his next life as a sun god. And if you read in Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, many, many years ago, I had given this knowledge to the sun god Vivaswan. And Vivaswan is the same as Satyavrata. So this is connected to Bhagavad Gita where it is starting. So in the first incarnation, this is the fish incarnation, we generally say it's the first incarnation. In this fish incarnation, the Lord has given this knowledge, and then this knowledge was forgotten over a period of time. Then Lord Krishna again gives this knowledge to Arjuna. So this is a link with Bhagavad Gita also. Well, see, in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, everything is scientific and proper history is there, with a trail of what happened next. And if somebody properly analyzes studies, we'll find all sequences properly mentioned very clearly, and they are right. There's no gap in any of this thing. They missed something. Everything is properly falling in place. So now we are starting with Sudyumna. So Sudyumna. So initially there was a Vaivasvata Manu who did not have children. So Vaivasvata Manu is one of the Manus who was managing one of the yugas. So he's in charge of the yugas. And so he did not have a son. So he was ruling a kingdom. So he did a sacrifice under Vasishtha Muni's guidance. So he took, his name is Vaivasvata Manu. And at the time, the sage who was managing, was a sage whom under he was Vasishtha Muni. So Vasishtha Muni did a sacrifice, and then his wife Shraddha, Vaivasvata Manu's wife was Shraddha, and she observed Payo Vraya vow, which was again same vow which Aditi had done, only subsisting only on milk. It's a very easy vrat. I think anybody can do it. 12 days be on milk and do worship of Lord Vishnu. It's an amazing, powerful this thing. So then she desired, but in this what happened? Manu wanted a son, but his wife actually desired a daughter. So now Vasishtha Muni has told, you do this vrat, and then after the vrat, you do some prayer with your priest, you'll do some formalities, and then you will get a child. So this wife of Vaivasvata Manu, Shraddha, does this vrat properly, but she desires a girl, but her husband is desiring a son. So now, she quietly tells a priest, she approaches the priest and she tells, I want a daughter. And then this priest does all the obligations, and then finally they get a daughter. Then Vaivasvata Manu goes to Vasishtha Muni, I had desired a son. How come I got a daughter? She said, there was a fault in your priest, what he did, in his oblations, what he offered. And there was in his mantras and this thing, he has desire. He has made mantra such a way that you get a daughter. So then he came to know because this happened. Then uh, uh, because his wife had convinced the priest that he wants a daughter. So then again, Vashishta Muni saying, okay, don't worry, I can give you a son. So what he says, so they have a daughter whose name is Ila. So now Vashishta Muni is praying to transform Ila into a boy. So Ila becomes a boy. And Lord Vishnu is granting, and then Ila becomes a handsome boy. His name is Sudyumna. So Ila becomes Sudyumna. And then Sudyumna grew well and he became a prince. And he was ruling everything. Once he went to a forest along with some of his followers. So they went for hunting something. They were going there. Then when they were chasing animals, they entered a forest called Sukumara. So he entered a forest called Sukumara where Lord Shiva was staying with his wife Uma. So they Uma Parvati. So Lord Shiva and Uma, they were staying there. And then as soon as they entered, Sudyumna entered, and with the followers who were all male, they entered, they all transformed into females. So had luck. First he was born as a female. Then with Mercedes Muni, he became a male and a prince. Then now he enters the forest, and then he again becomes female. So poor chap. So now he enters there, and everything. In fact, not only he, the horses who were male, they also became female. So they became a mass. This thing. So everybody became female there. So Sudyumna became transformed into a beautiful woman called Ila. And then she was again Ila back, and she was just roaming around as a this thing. And as soldiers also, they were also became a woman. And at that time, Buddha, the son of moon god, there was a son of moon god, he saw Ila and he got attracted to her. And when he got attracted to her, he married. Basically, they both married. And then Ila got a son. So his son name, he got a son named Pururava. Very confusing. So first female, then he becomes male, and then he goes to a forest, becomes female, and then he marries. So his Sudyumna becomes Ila, and he marries, and he gets a son. So now, why this happened? Because in this forest there was a curse. So once that there was a curse where, because in this forest Lord Shiva and Parvati used to live. So once they were living in this forest, some sages came there directly, and then this Parvati felt very shy, and she felt uncomfortable. So many sages just came inside without It's like sometimes you happen, without knocking the door, you enter somebody's house and it's a private house, and husband wife are just sitting, and you disturb them. So here the sages used to disturb, and then so Lord Shiva decided that because my wife Parvati has been she's not comfortable with male, so he said, dear Parvati, any male who enters this forest shall immediately become a female henceforth. So since then, no male has been entering the forest, and because these guys entered the forest, they became female. So this was a curse in that forest. So now he has become a female, and also he's got a son now. So now after that, Sudyumna Ila remembered his guru Vashist, and then Vashist came and saw his miserable life. He's become a female, and now he's a mother also. So then earlier, to Vashist had transformed Ila to Sudyumna, but now because they had entered this forest, Sukumar forest, he had become a girl. So Vashist worshipped the Vashist Muni. He worshipped Lord Shiva. He please transform Ila into Sudyumna, make this person a male again. Then Sudyumna was very happy. Then with Lord Shiva was very happy with Vashist Muni, and then Lord Shiva said, okay, now Sudyumna will remain male for 1 month and female for 1 month. So now he is male for 1 month and he is female for 1 month. And then this is the way his life remained. He used to take care of the child as a female for 1 month, and he was a male. He was ruling the kingdom for 1 month as a prince. And after that, he retired, and he gave his kingdom to son Pururava. And then this is the state. So this is what is this chapter teaching actually? This is such a fate of the person. Like first, Vaivasvata Manu did not have a son, and then he prayed, and see, this is all karma. This is what a fate gets. And then he's born as a boy, born as a girl, then becomes a boy, then he goes to the forest, again becomes a girl, he marries and gets a child, and then he's blessed by Lord Shiva to say, okay, 1 month you remain a boy, 1 month you remain a girl, and this thing. But in this, the only way we can escape our destiny, fate, we'll come to the next chapter, which teaches us, if somebody is cursed also, if he does devotion, bhakti to Lord Vishnu, that is the only savior for us. So here Sudyumna also born in such a great family, but he had to suffer so much. He practically suffered in this kind of a life. And if you recollect, similar story comes of one time there was a lady whose husband was cursed. He'll die before before sunset. So that lady was a chaste lady, and for her husband, she prayed, and she said the sun will not set. So sun did not set for many days, and then sun god was sitting idle. So then there was a chariot driver of sun god. He decided, what should I do? I'm getting bored. So he decided he'll go to Indralok, and he went to Indralok as a female. What do you say? Urvashi and all those things are then. What do you
Apsara.
call these? Apsara. So
Sunrise, Ravi, not sunset, huh?
sunrise. Sun will not be allowed to rise. Sunrise will not happen. So that chariot driver of sun god went to Lord Indra as Apsara. Then Lord Indra also became attracted to this Apsara, and then with this Apsara who was actually a chariot driver, he also begot a son. Then when he came back and he told this to sun god, see what happened to me. Then sun god said, okay, you show me your how you became a Apsara. So he shows, I became Apsara. And sun god is also becoming attracted to her, and then again he gets a son. So these two people, who were these two people? They were Bali and Sugriv. So Bali and Sugriv. Bali was the son of Indra, and Sugriv was the son of sun god, and they were both brothers. Because who was the mother? Actually, it was a chariot driver who had become a Apsara. So this is the way Bali and Sugriv were born. So here also you can see something similar. He becomes a girl and he gets a baby, and then again he's cursed. So somewhat something similar. So this is fate, which nobody can control. So now we'll go to the next chapter. So this chapter was just this much. So just see, these are all people who came in the Sun dynasty and what happened into their life. And then it will reach to a stage of, where Lord Ram will appear. And there are many important people. Ambrish Maharaj also appears in Sun dynasty. So Ambrish Maharaj's story is excellent. So we may reach there Wednesday, but we'll go through this small story. So first this chapter is done. Then there's a second chapter, Prasadra. Prasadra is one who surpassed the curse. So after Sudyumna retired, his father, Vaivashtumanu, wanted more sons. So he wanted more sons. Also, he had one son called Pururava, but this story is of other sons of Vaivashtumanu. So then he performed severe austerities at the bank of river Yamuna for 100 years. He worshipped Lord Vishnu and obtained 10 sons. One of them was Prasadra. So Vasishtha Muni instructed Prasadra to take care of the cow. So his son was there. So Vasishtha Muni is there. Vasishtha Muni is the sage who's still there. And he says to Prasadra, you take care of the cows. And what used to happen where the cows were, there used to be a tiger who used to come and attack these cows. So his guru told, so he was following his guru's order, and Prasadra would stand all night. He used to stand all night with a sword in his hand to protect the cows from animals like tigers and lions. But generally in the night, it used to be dark, very dark. There was no light. So one day a tiger entered the cowshed during the night. At that time, the stars were covered by the clouds. So it was a cloudy day, so there was no light. Everything was dark. All the cows became scared and running here and there, started running. So cows started running because a tiger had entered. And the tiger rode and caught one cow who screamed in distress. Prasadra took up his sword and carefully followed the sound of the tiger and the cow in the darkness. He wanted to cut the head of the tiger, but by mistake he cut off the cow's head with his sword. The sword also cut off the tiger's ear, and the tiger fled in fear while bleeding. So by mistake, Prasadra, what happened? He wanted to actually protect the cow, but instead of that, he hit the cow only, and cow was dead. And the tiger was only injured with his ear being injured, and the tiger ran away. So in the morning, Prasadra realized that he had killed a cow and felt very depressed and regretful. Although the sin was unintentional, it was not an intentional sin. See, in our life also, we do many sins which are unintentional. So we will definitely have to suffer those sins. But here also it was unintentional. It was a little larger sin. Vasisht became very angry. Vasisht Muni became very angry and he cursed, Prasadra, may you take birth as a low-born Shudra in your next life for sinning of killing a cow. He says, next birth you should be born in a very small family where you don't get any spiritual progress and nothing. You born the same. So Vashish could have suggested, in fact, Vashish Munina, generally, he could have suggested a simpler process of atonement. Said, okay, you did this, now you do this atonement, you do this tapasya for 100 years or 1,000 years, and then of Lord Vishnu, that would help you. But he cursed him, so it was by this thing, he cursed him. But instead, it was impulsive. Generally people get angry and they are impulsive, they curse. So, but Prasadra did not, object or fight back. He accepted the curse with folded hands. Humble Prasadra did not protest or defend. He did not defend, ये तो मेरी गलती नहीं थी. It was not my mistake. I just, in dark night, how can we see? So suppose we make a mistake, we generally give excuses. No? It was so dark. There was no light. By mistake, I cut the cow. The tiger ran away. My intention was to cut the tiger only. But he did not give all this excuse. His Guru had given him a punishment. He just said. But he now decided to take a vow of celibacy. Celibacy means he decided to become a brahmacharya, not to marry his wife. He started worshipping Lord Vasudev with fixed devotion. So he worshipped Lord Krishna. And then he was detached and he used to travel. He was self-controlled. So he was detached. One thing is detachment. He was detached with material life. And he was self-controlled. No desires, nothing, today we want to go to a hotel, we want to eat so many things, or we want to travel. He was totally self-controlled with no desires. And he was satisfied with his knowledge and devotion. He was always satisfied with what knowledge and devotion he had. And thus he traveled all over the earth as if a dumb, blind, deaf, absorbed in devotional meditation of Lord Vasudev. So he used to travel, like, Jad Bharat and they used to travel. Once, while traveling, he entered a forest fire and left his body there. So he entered a forest and then there was a forest fire and he left his body there. He thus attained Lord Krishna in the spiritual world. Also, because of his karma, Vashish's curse, he was supposed to take birth as a Shudra in next life. He avoided it by performing bhakti unto Lord Krishna. He escaped the effects of the curse. Very, very rare situation, to get away with the curse. But with Lord Krishna's bhakti, we can actually get away with curse, and our sins can be, our punishment for our sins can be reduced. There are many situations people go away with a minor accident, just nothing, small hurt happens, but because they are devotees, and probably it was a possibility that he would have died. So we have seen so many situations, that people they have survived, they have lived for a higher age, although they would have died earlier. So where it comes that Chitragupt initially said, he would have died early, but because of his devotion to Lord Vishnu, his life was extended. So yeah, that day I was listening to one, people say we'll do sins, nobody can see us, nobody can watch us. But actually everybody is watching us. So we have seen, so many witnesses are there. So that day I heard a very nice listening. So if you see now, in the roads, there are CCTVs. And if you jump a signal or you don't follow the traffic rules, the CCTV clicks your photo and you get a challan at your house or in your mobile app at your vehicle number. So if you see the name of Chitragupt is a person who manages all our karmas, the accounts of our sins, our good deeds, everything. So Chitra means photo. So he clicks the photo. Gupt means secret. So if you see the CCTV, it's a secret camera. So Chitragupt, also the name comes, Chitragupt, photo in a secret place. He secretly takes a photo while we are doing sins. So Chitragupt is having all his, spies around, who catch us doing sins. So witnesses, we have a lot of witnesses. So here also, Prasadra was completely saved because of his devotion. So we also do sins. We can, one thing is, we can get away with her. Our punishment can reduce only by bhakti. But that doesn't mean that, we do sin, then we do bhakti. We do sin, intentionally we should not do sins. We cannot do sins. That is not correct. And that will not be done away with. So this was the story of Prasada. So nowadays there's videos going on, we should people should start having cows in their house. So there are cows which are there, which are very small, 1 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet, which can be taken care in the house. There are a lot of videos going on. So taking care of the cows is good, but at home, depending on the cows also need really good place to stay. You cannot make them in your house, and it will be difficult for them also. They'll not enjoy that weather. So yeah, serving the cow is important. So do serve the cow. So this was of this thing. So then, yeah, now the third story is really very nice one. The third, this one, no place. This one also, this one, Sukanya, the young wife of an old sage. So this is the third story of Sukanya. So first we heard the story of Ila, who was born as a girl, so Bimala, and then we heard the story of Prasadra, who also by mistake killed a cow, and he was did devotion to Lord Krishna, and he was saved from the curse of Vashisth Muni. So now there's a story of Sukanya, who was a young wife and a young wife of a old sage. So now Vashisthvata Manu had another son named Sarayati. Sarayati was one more son of Vaivashvata Manu, and King Sarayati had a beautiful daughter named Sukanya. So King Sarayati was married, and he had a beautiful daughter named Sukanya. So one day, Sarayati and Sukanya, they went to the ashram of Chevana Muni. So Chevan, this is linked to Chavanprash. If you have heard Chavanprash, so they went to a sage ashram of sage Chevan, along with some soldiers. So Sukanya was very young, and then she was collecting the fruits in the forest, and interestingly, she saw some two glowing objects from an anthill. There was an anthill, and there were two glowing objects. So what she did, she was curious, and she pierced those two objects with a thorn. Actually, those were two eyes of Chevan Muni. So Chevan Muni was doing meditation, and he was covered with the anthill, and there was two glowing objects were actually his eyes. So Sukanya, by mistake, he pierced a thorn in both the eyes, in the eyes of this two eyes of Chevan. And then a lot of blood started coming out of it. And then Sukanya became very fearful. Suddenly from this, how come blood is coming from this glowing objects? And the king Sarayati became surprised. And after that, all the soldiers of Sarayati felt constipated and couldn't pass urine. So what happened because of that? All the soldiers, they could not do urine. They became constipated. They were cursed because of that. Then Sarayati then spoke to his associate. It appears that someone among us did something wrong and polluted Chevana Muni's ashram. So Sarayati, the king, realizes, some mistake has happened from our end, and we have actually polluted Chevana Muni's ashram. Then Sukanya went to Sarayati and told them that, what she had done. By mistake, she had pierced. Now Sarayati is thinking that, because of this, Chevana Muni will actually curse me, or he'll punish me. So he goes there, he wants to pacify Chevan Muni. And then he goes there, Chevan Muni, he says, oh great sage, please forgive my foolish daughter. She did it out of innocence. So he's saying, by mistake she has done. She did not knew that these two were your eyes, and he pierced them. So Chevan Muni asked Sarayati, is your daughter married? So he's asking, is your daughter married? The sage is old, he's an old sage. And this lady Sukanya is a young daughter of the Sarayati king. And then Chevan Muni asking, is your daughter married? So now Sarayati understands, with this question he understood that Chevan Muni is desiring to marry his daughter. So he says, no, my dear sage, my daughter is not married, but if you desire, you can marry her. So Chevan Muni agreed. Now this king did not have any option, because they had already did a sin to this sage by piercing his eyes. And then finally she was married. And then he returned to the kingdom. So previously it was like this, they went to the forest, the marriage happened, he left the daughter, and he came back. There was no rituals, no functions, big celebration of marriage the way it's happening. Like now, if you see now, Mani's son is getting married, it's becoming a big affair. It's a media event kind of a thing. So here, his daughter is married and Sarayati is back. So Sukanya is married. But Chevana Muni was very old, and he was irritable. He used to get irritated very fast. So generally, you see, old people, they became, generally, it's not true, but they get irritated very fast, if you disturb them. But he used to become sometimes angry. But Sukanya, she had a lot of patience. She was from a good family. And she had a lot of patience, and she actually took care of her husband very nicely. She took care of him properly, understanding his temperament, and slowly conquered her heart. So she was a chaste wife, and she took care of her husband, and husband was very happy. So one day what happened? So now Chavan Muni was very happy with her wife. So one day Ashwini Kumar. So if you remember Ashwini Kumar, we had the story of cutting the head of Dadachi Rishi. They wanted to take the knowledge of uh, spiritual knowledge. Lord Indra told, no, you don't give it to them, otherwise I'll cut your head. So what did Dadachi Muni do? First he cut his head. The Ashwini Kumar gave a suggestion, okay, we'll cut your head, we'll give you a horse's head. Then you give us this knowledge with a horse head. And then when Indra comes, he'll cut your head, we'll put your original head back. So Ashwini Kumaras Haru, they are the doctors, they are the surgeons of the Devtas. So they once came to Chavan Muni's ashram. And then Chavan Muni greeted them and he said, you are great doctors in heaven. Can you please help me regain my youth? Make me young. So in return, I shall give you a pot full of somaras. Although you are ineligible to drink it. Somaras is basically a drink, a very famous drink of heaven. So he said, also you are not eligible, but I'll give it to you. Then Ashwini Kumar said, yeah, definitely. They are experts in Ayurveda, like Lord Dhanvantari. They said, we can make you young. So they accepted this thing. Then what they did, they caught hold of old an emaciated, very old body. His skin is falling, and he was very old. And they took that. There were two. Ashwini Kumar was the two people, and they both took Chavan Muni inside a lake. So they entered a lake, and after that they came out. And after that they came out, there were three handsome men, almost identical. Three handsome men who came out of the lake. And then they went to Sukanya. So when Sukanya saw, all three are looking same, how do women know who is my husband? So then she is requesting, I am confused. So she said, two of them are Ashwini Kumar, third is Chavan Muni, but she could not recognize. So they were looking similar. So she requested Ashwini Kumar, oh great Devtas, please mercifully show my husband. So they were pleased with her chastity and honesty. She could have told, all three are same. I can, one of them is can be my husband. But she asked that who is my husband, and they revealed, this is the person. And Chavan Muni became very young. So this is where your Chavan Prash, Edward, people say Chavan Prash, basically making old people young, making healthy. So that's the theme. So Chavan Muni is the story. So he became young from a old man, and he started living happily with Sukanya. So once what happened, her father, Sukanya's father, came to meet her daughters. Okay, how is she doing? And then when she came there, he saw her, she's living with somebody who's very young and handsome. I had married her with an old Chavan Muni Rishi. That means she has probably ditched him, or she has, left him, and she's this thing. And he started telling Sharati, what have you done? You have cheated your respectable husband, a Brahmana sage. Because he was old, did you accept this young man as your husband? So Sharayatu actually misunderstood because he was not aware what had happened. Then Sukanya, was very tolerant, and she smiled and spoke with her father. My dear father, this young man is Chavan Muni. By the grace of Ashwini Kumara, he has become young now. Then hearing the whole story from Sukanya, Sharayatu was surprised and happy and embraced his beloved daughter. And then Chavan Muni had, this is one more story which comes, a sage was old. But once the wife does a lot of service to her husband, if she serves her husband, she can transform the, Taqdeer ko kya bolte hain? Transform her destiny. She can transform the destiny of her husband. And there are many, many incidents, a woman, we say a woman is behind a man's success. So this woman is behind a man's success is from our Shastras. It is not just created. There are many women who have been a reason for the success of many people. So because of their loyalty and their service to the husband. See, today's world is actually becoming really bad, really sad scenario, where people marry and if they are not able to continue, they feel irritated, and there's no tolerance, there's no patience among the couples now. And plus the culture is so falling. I go to my worldly office, I go down, I see females smoking so nicely, coolly, on the shop, which is of a pan bidi shop, which is a shop of a cigarette person selling cigarettes. Most of the people are actually of females only. The young females who are working in this corporate offices, they are standing there and they are only smoking. So the culture is actually deteriorating. But these Srimad Bhagavatam, these chapters actually show, if a woman remains calm, remains composed, and she takes care of her husband very well, she can transform the life, transform his destiny, and she can actually win over them. So this is what the thing, and this is a lesson on patience. So now after that, what happened? Chavana Muni, he had promised Ashwini Kumar that I'll give you Somaras. So after that, he assisted. He did a Soma Yagna, and he got a pot full of Somarasa to give it to Ashwini Kumar. But Devtas, they were very unhappy, because Ashwini Kumars were not authorized, they were not qualified to drink it. But Chavan Muni gave it to them. Also, Indra became angry with him, and he wanted to kill Chavan Muni because of this. But Chavan Muni now, he had his powers. In fact, he had so much power that he injured Indra. He in fact paralyzed his arms. And after that, all the Devtas agreed, okay, allow him to drink the Somras. So, because he became so much powerful. And this is a lesson of patience. So, Sukanya committed the innocent mistake of piercing Chavana Muni with a thorn. After marrying Chavana, she treated him with love, respect, and patience, although he was old and irritable. When her father became angry, seeing her with a young boy, she patiently clarified that to him that he was Chavan. In this way, Sukanya showed a great patience in her dealings instead of being impulsive and angry. Thus, she could win the heart of her husband and her father. If we too try to be accommodative to others' moods and deal with them patiently, we can build loving relationships with everyone around us. So this is a quality, this is the nature of generally mothers. They are always accommodative, they are never angry. And this is actually the best quality which women and mothers have. And this is what he showed. Sukanya showed this. So this was the third story. So we'll do one more. We'll do two more because next is the Ambarish story. These are small stories. Now there's one story of Revati, the shortened bride. So this we had discussed earlier also. Revati, who is Revati? She's the wife of Balram. So if you go to temples in Dwarka, there's a place where Lord Balram has appeared, and his wife Revati is also staying with him. So Revati is the wife of Lord Balram. So there's a story of Revati, how she became wife of, how she got married to Lord Balram. So King Kakudmi was the grandson of Sharayati. So we have said Sharayati ka grandson. He was a grandson. So Sharayati, the King Sharayati, his daughter was Sukanya, but his grandson was Kakudmi, and he had a beautiful daughter named Revati. So this story is coming from the Satyuga. So his daughter was Revati, and then this king, once he went to Brahmalok along with her daughter Revati to inquire from Brahma, tell me who is a suitable husband for my daughter. So at that time, what happened? Lord Brahma was enjoying. He was watching a musical performance of Gandharvas. So Gandharvas were there, and Lord Brahma was really watching that, and he was enjoying. So he told Kakudmi, okay, you wait for some time, I'll come back. He said, let me this performance get over. So after this musical performance, then Brahma came, and he came to see Kakudmi, and then Kakudmi told him, I'm looking for a husband for my daughter, please guide. So Brahma smiled, he said, now what has happened? In this time, the time when you came and I was watching this musical performance, and then you waited in this time, 27 Chaturyugas have gone. So you have waited for me for 27 Chaturyugas, because the time zone, basically time in the Brahmalok, moves slowly compared to the material planets. The material planet time moves very fast. This is the clock. So here 27 Chaturyugas have passed. And he said, now the only person now, so now currently what is, as per the calculations on the time calculations on the earth, this is currently Dwapar Yuga is going on. There's a Dwapar Yuga on the earth. Also we are in Satyuga. Right now after this 27 Chaturyugas which are passed, and the current time which is there on the earth is Dwapar Yuga. So he said, in Dwapar Yuga, the only person I can see is Lord Balram, who can become your wife, because he has descended on the earth along with Lord Krishna. So because the time calculations on the earth and higher planets are different. So he said, you can marry your daughter to Lord Balram. So Kakudni said, good, okay. Then he went to Lord Balram, and Lord Balram agreed, okay, I'll marry your daughter Revati. But problem is, Revati comes from Satyog, and her height is maybe around 10 feet, 12 feet type. She's very tall. But Lord Balram maybe 5, 6 feet, 6 feet at this in the Dwapar Yuga. That was the general height. And he said, my wife is so tall, how do I do that? So what Balram did was to bring her out height to normal with her plow, with his plow, which he uses the hull, he brought the size of this of Revati, his wife, to normal. So with that he did that, and then the height became as per Dwapar Yuga, and then this divine marriage happened of Lord Balram and Revati. So it happened marriage, and then after that Kakudni retired and went to Badrika Ashram to worship the Lord. See, everybody who retires, they go to some forest, they go to Badrika Ashram, and they do the chanting. That's the way to live. It's not like that, at the age of 60, 70, people are marrying in this world. That's not the right thing. After 50, 60, people should start getting detached from the family life. The detachment is very important. Getting detached and actually leaving everything. And they should go off to some isolated place. Or they should associate with sages. Maybe they should associate with sages or Vaishnavas, stay with them. But not with the normal family and not doing normal earnings of life. So this is the fourth small story. So now we'll do one more for the day. And this story is of Nabhaga, an emblem of simplicity. So now the story is coming of the Sun dynasty only. Yeah? So Vaivaswata Manu is one more son. So we heard about his other son, Sharayati, and his daughter, his daughter and the other son. So now there was one more son of him, his name called Nabhag. So Nabhag was son of Vaivaswata Manu, and his son was Nabhaga. So Nabhag and Nabhaga. So Nabhaga was his son. So Nabhaga went to school, he used to study under his guru, and he lived there for a long time as a brahmachari. So, but and he had other brothers also. So Nabhaga was not the only son. Nabhag had other sons also. So one of the sons was Nabhaga, and his other brothers were there. And then when others brothers saw that his brother is not coming back, he's staying. So they all married and they took away all the property of the father and distributed among themselves. So they took everything. They took all the property of the father. And distributed. And then when Nabhaga came back, he saw brothers, and he told his brothers, okay, now I've come back. You give me my share of wealth. They said, no. What you'll do? They gave him his father. He said, this father is your wealth. So this father was old now. He said, okay, now this is your wealth. You take care. So, but simple-hearted, this Nabhaga was a very simple person. He said, okay, went to his father, and father, his father is saying, don't believe your brother's cheating words. I am not a property that can be enjoyed. Innocent Nabhaga didn't go back to his brothers again. He didn't go back. And he said to his father, you come to me, and then his father gives him a suggestion. So here one important thing is that there are two kinds of brahmacharis. So what are the two kinds of brahmacharis? One is Upakurvana brahmachari. Upakarvana brahmachari, and there's a Brahad Vrata brahmachari. Upakarvana brahmachari is after education by a guru, he returns home, marries, and becomes a householder, and then he becomes a brahmachari. He's this thing. He follows his education, he returns home, marries, and becomes a householder. And Brahad Vrata brahmachari is he never marries in his whole life. He's a brahmachari throughout. So this Upakarma is only, initially he's brahmachari, then after his retirement life he'll be. But Brahad Vrata brahmachari is never married. So Nabhaga was not a Brahad Vrata brahmachari, he was a normal Upakurvana brahmachari. So he comes back, his brothers don't give him wealth. So his father, he says, take your father. So his father advises, no, you ask them wealth, go to the court, file a case against your brothers. But this Nabhaga was not interested. He said, no, I don't want to do all this. So he said, okay. Then the father tells, now Nabhaga is giving advice to his son Nabhag, he did not get anything, so I'll give you advice. He says, there are sages of Angira dynasty, they are going to perform a great sacrifice. They are going to perform a great sacrifice of sages. They are learned. But on every sixth day, they will make mistakes. They are learned, but every sixth day they make mistakes, and their sacrifice will never be successful. And but what you do, go to them and describe two Vedic mantra. And once you describe these two Vedic mantras, their mistake will be rectified. So they'll be able to correct that mistake and they'll be able to complete the sacrifice. And then they will give you wealth or whatever you want. They'll give you all the gifts. So then he says, you go there. So then after completing the sales, they will give you money they have received in the sacrifice. So Nabaga acted accordingly. And then the sages, so he went there, he helped the sages to complete the sacrifice by telling these two Vedic mantras, and the sages were very happy. So they had got a lot of money, gifts in the sacrifice. So they gave Nabaga also this money. So now Nabaga got the riches. Then he was returning back to his father. So he was coming back. So there was one person in the road on the way. He catches him, he's very dark person, black person. He comes, he says, all this wealth belongs to me. Please give it. So he was none other than Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva meets Nabaga and tells, this wealth belongs to me, give it to me. So Nabaga says, no, these sages have returned, given to me. This is mine, not yours. How can you take it? Mushkil se to kuch mila hai. All my brothers have taken the wealth. I have only got this now after so much of effort, my father's advice, and the sages have given me this wealth. So how can I give it to you? So he's arguing with Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is saying, okay, let's go to your father and let him settle your dispute. Let him settle our dispute. So now both Nabaga and Lord Shiva go to his father, Nabag. So they go there. So when Nabag is inquired from his father, so Nabag is telling to his father, whatever the great sages offered in Yagna belongs to Lord. So his father is now answering. So Nabag is telling him, this person has come. He's telling, all wealth belongs to him. And but I have earned this from the sages. So now Nabag is telling to him, whatever the great sages offered in Yagna belongs to Lord Shiva. So whatever is offered is actually to offer to the Lord. So Lord Shiva is also powerful. So they had offered everything to Lord Shiva. Therefore, all this wealth is his. So all the wealth belongs to Lord Shiva. So when father told, so this son was very humble and very faithful to his father. So whatever his father said, he used to follow. So his father said, this wealth belongs to Lord Shiva. He immediately gave everything to Lord Shiva. He bowed down to Lord Shiva, Nabag, and begged for mercy. He sought forgiveness. I'm sorry, I did a mistake. I didn't know this. So obviously this wealth belongs to you. And he gave it back to them. And Lord Shiva was so happy with Nabag, Nabag's detachment, devotion, and simplicity. The Lord gave him all the wealth. See, Lord Shiva never needs wealth. He only tests people. He takes how true, how humble, how detached a person is, how simple a person is. So Nabag was very simple and very honest, and he basically did. So Lord Shiva was so happy. He gave him everything and also gave him spiritual knowledge. And then this Nabag becomes the father of a glorious king and a celebrated devotee named Ambarish Maharaj. So Nabag is none other than the father of Ambarish Maharaj. So Ambarish Maharaj story is one of the real great stories of devotion. We'll hear the story on Wednesday. So Nabag, Ambarish is the son of Nabag, who was such a simple person. Lord Shiva gave him spiritual knowledge and wealth. See, great people are born in great families. The hierarchy, the parents are generally great. So also you can say, Bhakt Prahlad was born to Hiranyakashipu, but it was Lord's intention, that Bhakt Prahlad had to come in that family. And it was because of the blessing of Narad that he became Bhakt Prahlad. So here what we listen is a character. Our character is very important. So simple-hearted Nabag was initially cheated by his brothers, but he did not have grudge against anyone, and he faced his life situation with humility and tolerance. Later, he was blessed by Lord Shiva with material wealth and spiritual knowledge. A person with good character and behavior never encounters misfortune, but is ultimately blessed with good fortune sooner or later. See, having a strong character throughout our life is very important. Never compromise on integrity and ethics. This is the most important thing. We have a very, very strong character. One of the strong characters, Maharaj Bharat, brother of Lord Ram, Lord Shri Ram. So his integrity was so strong, For 14 years, he had access to the full wealth, full kingdom of Ayodhya, but he did not misuse it. He always thought this belongs to my brother. So that's a how strong our character is will help us in the long run. See, this will, our character will give us good fortune once in our life. It can be soon, it can be later, but we'll always get good fortune if our character is strong, a very, very strong character. So here Nabag shows that the character is so important. Therefore, let's stick to our noble virtues. So we should do our noble virtues despite of all odds. Even if somebody tries to cheat, it's not cheat us. We don't need to necessarily cheat him back. We have to be tolerant. Maybe we may fight in the sense we may do something, but we not do cheating against that. We can go to the police, we can do all these things, we can take advice, but it's not that somebody has cheated me, I'll also cheat him back. So our character we have to keep very strong. So we'll end here. So we'll do this Ambarish Maharaj's story later, and then we'll keep on doing this. Maybe this book may need around 4 sessions maximum. So we'll complete this book, and then our Srimad Bhagavatam, whatever Gaurang Darshan Das Prabhuji has written, will be completed. Any questions? Or we can end the session.
No questions from my side.